Nobody remembers who discovered the cave first. That's the terrifying part. 7 hikers entered Black Hollow Forest during winter after their GPS redirected them miles away from the main trail. By sunset, their phones had lost signal, their supplies were running low, and the temperature had already dropped below freezing. Panic came slowly. First came the arguments, then silence. Because deep between the trees, they saw a strange blue glow pulsing through the darkness, like the forest itself was breathing. At first, they thought it was shelter. Then they noticed something impossible. The snow around the glow wasn't melting. It was moving, sliding slowly toward the source, as if something underground was pulling it inward. One of the hikers, a live streamer named Evan, forced a nervous laugh and pointed his camera toward the cliffs ahead. "Either we found aliens," he joked weakly, "or this place is cursed." Nobody laughed, because the forest had suddenly gone silent. No wind, no insects, nothing. Only the sound of boots crunching through snow as they approached the opening hidden behind the rocks. The cave looked ancient. Massive black walls stretched upward beyond sight, covered in glowing green markings that shimmered faintly beneath moonlight. And in the center of the entrance, a bridge. Old wooden planks suspended above a bottomless abyss. But the strangest thing wasn't the bridge. It was the sound below. Whispering. Thousands of voices murmuring beneath the darkness. One of the hikers stepped backward immediately. "We should leave." But Evan stepped onto the bridge anyway. This is exactly how horror movies start. Reluctantly, the others followed. Halfway across, Mia suddenly froze. "Did you hear that?" Everyone stopped moving. The whispers had changed. They were saying names now. Their names. Softly, like something beneath the bridge was learning them. Evan forced another laugh. Then the cave whispered his name back perfectly. Not an echo. Another voice. And it came from directly below them. The bridge creaked violently. Something massive moved underneath. Everyone screamed and ran toward the other side. Except Evan. He kept filming, because deep inside the cave, someone was standing there holding a lantern, watching them. And the lantern light revealed something horrifying. The figure had no face. The faceless thing stood completely still at the far end of the cave. No breathing. No movement. Nothing. Evan zoomed in with trembling hands. "That has to be fake," he whispered. But nobody answered, because the whispers below the bridge had changed again. Now they sounded desperate, begging, "Don't follow the light." Mia grabbed Evan's arm instantly. "We're leaving. Right now." But when they turned around, the bridge behind them was gone. Not broken. Gone. Only endless darkness remained where the entrance should have been. Panic exploded instantly. Flashlights shook wildly as they searched for another exit, but the deeper they looked into the cave, the stranger it became. The walls no longer looked like stone. They looked alive. Smooth black surfaces pulsed faintly beneath glowing green veins stretching through the rock like blood vessels. Then the lantern figure finally moved. Slowly. Its body jerked unnaturally with each step, like a puppet dragged by invisible strings. And despite the distance, its footsteps sounded directly beside them. Step, step, step. Evan's live stream chat exploded with warnings. "Run. Don't look left. It's watching you." Confused, Evan slowly pointed his flashlight toward the left wall. The entire group screamed. Faces were embedded inside the cave itself. Human faces. Dozens of them. Stretching silently beneath the walls like trapped people frozen under ice. Their mouths moved desperately, trying to warn them. Then every face suddenly opened its eyes at once. The cave shook violently. A deafening roar echoed from somewhere far below. The lantern figure stopped moving completely. Its head tilted backward. Too far backward. Bones cracked loudly inside its neck. Then it spoke. Not with one voice. Hundreds layered together. "You came willingly." The lantern suddenly went out. Darkness swallowed everything. The hikers panicked instantly, switching on every flashlight they had. But the cave had changed again. The walls were closer now. The paths had shifted. And hanging high above them were hundreds of wooden bridges suspended in darkness, like a giant spiderweb. That's when Mia felt something warm drip onto her shoulder. She slowly lifted her flashlight upward and froze. People were hanging upside down from the bridges above them, still alive, blinking slowly, watching silently from the darkness. Nobody moved. The hanging bodies swayed gently above them like human cocoons wrapped in black roots. Their eyes followed the hikers silently. One of them suddenly smiled. That's when Jordan snapped. He grabbed Evan violently and screamed, "Turn the camera off." But Evan couldn't, because the live stream viewers were seeing things the hikers weren't. The chat kept repeating the same warning over and over. The bridges are moving. At first, Evan ignored it. Then he slowly looked upward again. The bridges hanging above them were rearranging themselves, twisting slowly through the darkness like giant living limbs searching for something. The cave groaned deeply, like an enormous animal waking up beneath them. Then one of the hanging people suddenly spoke softly. "Which one of you heard it first?" Nobody answered. The suspended figure laughed weakly. That means it already chose. Suddenly, the black roots holding the body snapped. The person crashed violently onto the cave floor. Everyone jumped backward in horror. The survivor looked ancient. Pale skin, sunken eyes, like he had been trapped there for decades. He grabbed Mia's arm desperately. "You cannot let it learn your fear." "What is this place?" she whispered. The old man's expression collapsed instantly. "This isn't a cave." The whispers below suddenly stopped. Complete silence filled the darkness. The old man looked terrified. "No, it's listening." A massive sound echoed beneath them. Thud. The ground shook violently. Thud. Closer this time. Something enormous was climbing upward beneath the cave. When the whisper stopped, the old man whispered, "It moves." Another deafening thud echoed below. Cracks spread across the ground beneath their feet. Then Evan's live stream glitched violently. For one horrifying second, viewers saw the truth. Not a cave, an enormous mouth. The bridges were teeth. The glowing walls were flesh. And the abyss below, a throat descending endlessly into darkness. The stream returned instantly, but everyone had seen it. The cave wasn't alive. It was something pretending to be a place. Then the faceless lantern figure appeared behind them silently. Only now, it had a face. Evan's face. Perfectly copied. It smiled slowly, then spoke using Evan's exact voice. "You should not have entered hungry." The ground beneath Jordan suddenly split open. A giant eye opened below him, and it blinked. Jordan fell screaming, but he didn't disappear immediately. For one horrifying second, the others watched him sliding downward through layers of moving flesh beneath the cave floor while giant veins wrapped around his body, like snakes dragging prey deeper underground. Then the eye closed, and he was gone. Mia nearly collapsed. Evan stumbled backward, gripping the camera tightly. "This isn't real," he whispered repeatedly. But the live stream viewers already knew it was real, because they were hearing the whispers too, through their phones, through their speakers. Some viewers later claimed the voices called their names directly from the stream. Others swore they saw bridges appearing briefly inside mirrors and dark reflections around their homes. Meanwhile, the fake Evan slowly began walking toward them. Its movements were wrong, too smooth, too perfect, like something pretending to understand human behavior. "Why are you afraid?" it asked calmly. Its jaw suddenly stretched wider than humanly possible. "We only want to remember you." The walls around them pulsed violently. More faces emerged beneath the surface, screaming silently from inside the cave itself. The old man grabbed Mia again. "You must reach the heart bridge before it fully wakes up." "What wakes up?" Evan shouted. The old man stared downward in terror. The thing wearing the mountain. Another massive thud shook the cave violently. Dust rained from above. Somewhere in the darkness, bridges began snapping one after another. The old man pointed deeper into the cave, where a giant bridge stretched across an endless glowing blue abyss. "That bridge seals it." "Seals what?" Evan demanded. The old man never answered, because something had begun crawling across the ceiling toward them, upside down. Fast! The hikers lifted their flashlights upward and froze instantly. It was Jordan, or what remained of him. His limbs had stretched unnaturally long like spider legs bending backward as he crawled rapidly across the ceiling. His eyes were completely black, and his mouth filled with whispering voices. "Don't leave," they begged through him. "Stay inside." Then every face trapped inside the cave walls opened their mouths simultaneously. A single sentence thundered through the darkness. "IT is starving." The entire mountain shook violently, and far below them, something gigantic finally opened its eyes. The blue glow beneath the Heart Bridge intensified until the abyss looked like an ocean of moving light below the cave. Except it wasn't water. It was eyes. Millions of them opening slowly beneath the bridge. Watching. Learning. Hungry. Mia nearly collapsed from terror. "What is that thing?" The old man answered without looking downward. "It fell here before humans existed." His voice trembled violently. The mountain grew around it to keep it asleep. The fake Evan stepped closer, smiling unnaturally. But people are curious creatures. Suddenly, the bridges above them began lowering one by one, and the hanging bodies attached to them started waking up. Hundreds of pale eyes opened throughout the darkness. The whispers returned instantly. Only now they sounded excited, like a crowd waiting for a performance to begin. The old man shoved Mia forward desperately. "Go now." The group sprinted across the Heart Bridge as the fake Evan followed slowly behind them. But halfway across, the bridge suddenly began moving beneath their feet. Breathing. The wooden planks pulsed like muscle. Then giant veins erupted through the bridge, wrapping around their ankles violently. One hiker was dragged screaming through the gaps instantly. The abyss below exploded with movement. Thousands of eyes surged upward beneath the bridge. Evan grabbed Mia before she fell, but when he looked downward, he finally saw the truth. The creature below wasn't one thing. It was made from people. Millions of human bodies fused together into one gigantic living mass buried beneath the earth. Every missing victim, every trapped soul, still alive inside it. The fake Evan stopped in the center of the bridge and tilted its head slowly. "You understand now." Its skin split open, and beneath Evan's copied face was the faceless lantern creature. "We are what remains." The bridge began collapsing rapidly. The old man screamed desperately, "Destroy the lantern." Mia looked toward the glowing lantern hanging from the creature's hand. Inside the glass, tiny screaming human faces pounded against the walls trying to escape. Without thinking, she grabbed the lantern and hurled it into the abyss below. The cave reacted instantly. A monstrous roar shook the entire mountain. The bridges snapped violently. The walls began collapsing inward, and for the first time, the whispers became screams. The fake Evan stared silently at Mia as cracks spread across its body. Then it whispered something that froze everyone's blood. "You broke the first seal." The cave suddenly fell silent. Then deep below the abyss, something much larger moved. A second pair of eyes slowly opened in the darkness, and this time, they were looking directly at Mia. The entire cave began trembling violently. Massive cracks spread across the walls while the hanging bridges snapped one after another above the abyss. The old man's expression turned pale. "No," he whispered. "That thing was asleep the entire time." A deep sound echoed upward from below. Not a roar, a breath. Something unimaginably huge inhaling for the first time in centuries. Then the whispers returned, but now they all spoke together. Millions of voices layered into one. "Run." The giant eyes beneath the abyss suddenly blinked, and every lantern inside the cave lit up at once. Thousands of faceless figures appeared across the bridges in the darkness surrounding them, watching silently, waiting. Then Mia noticed something horrifying. Every single creature had her face. The fake Evan smiled one last time as its body split apart like rotting skin peeling from bone. "You were never chosen by accident," it whispered. The bridge beneath Mia suddenly cracked loudly, and somewhere deep below the mountain, something began climbing upward toward them.